Coach, a couple of really close, tough losses on the road last week at Kent State and Ball State. Just recap last week for us.
Well, I mean, I think, when you take a look at the Ball State game, I thought we played pretty solid. Struggled making some shots, but yet and still, we stuck in there and hung around the game. And then in the second half of the game, we were able there to make a little run there at the end to, quite frankly, making a one-possession game with a little bit over a minute to go. Not a great foul at the time. Sort of, one of our kids sort of lost, time score situation. But having said that, it was a 2-point game, and we still had our opportunities there to play well. But it's I think it's been a consistent theme in that just trying to get some consistency from a scoring standpoint. From a couple more kids outside of Eric and Giovanni. Deion Wade didn't necessarily score a lot of points. I think it was actually, I can't remember what it was from the field, but I thought his impact on the game in that he had 9 rebounds, his energy and his effort. So those were good things also. And so, continue to, as I tell them, hit the rock. I think we're right there. And understanding anytime you go on the road in conference play, it's hard to get one, period. And, fortunately or unfortunately for us, our first 3 out of 4 have been on the road. And then, of course, you take a look at the Ball State game. I thought came out in the first half and played very well and did a good job of, maybe bothering their offense, I should say. And we're able to go in. I think we gave up 17, 18 points at half and able to go in at the half up by 11. And knowing that, you're on the road, team's going to make a run and they'll make some kind of run. Typically that's what happens. Came out in the second half, and I think in some ways the tables were a little bit turned in that, we went through a dark stretch there offensively. But we got the production from G and Eric, particularly from Eric in that game. And G had some opportunities there. If you go back and look at the tape, he probably had 4 or 5 opportunities there right at the rim, starting off the game. Reverse move. Then we had a dump down pass that he missed, and he had a little post up action that he missed. And those are shots he usually makes. And then he's in transition twice, and we're not able to come away with a bucket or a foul. So you're looking at, he would typically make 4 out of 5 or probably 5 out of 5, so 8 to 10 more points. I thought the difference in the game in many ways was our lack of being able to take advantage of the transition opportunities and the amount of times that we came away blank without a score or without a foul. And, I thought we did the job defensively. You hold a team to 48 points on the road, then, you're where you need to be. Opposite of that is you got to be able to score more than 46 points. But, when you leave, 5 different opportunities in transition, and you don't get a score or a foul, that's 10 points right there that you leave on the board. But I love the kids' effort. That I have no qualms with whatsoever. And Ball State's done a good job, and they've been consistent this year, and they found ways to win. Jeremy Tyler, I thought, came in off the bench and gave them a really big boost. I think he had 10 off the bench, but I want to say he had like a 7-point run that was in a timely fashion for them. But, felt terrible for our kids to lose it there right at the end. And Jeremiah Davis drives it, and Caleb is actually right there, and he's on the left side and shoots a right-hand shot over Caleb that goes in. But, you got to continue to work, continue to create your own luck. But I like where our guys are mentally. I really do, and what they've been doing. And so, now we have an opportunity here to get a home game and see if we can turn the tide.
Talked an awful lot about Giovanni and Eric, but G scores his 1,000th career point and has his 200th career assist at Kent State last week. Eric's had 4 straight 20-point games in MAC play. career high 26 points on Saturday at Ball State. Just talk about their impact and what they bring.
Well, I mean, two seniors, number one. So I think as you start going down the road, there's a sense of desperation, and maybe that's not the fair word, but you certainly know that the end is coming, and you want to leave it out on the court. And those two, they've really done that. I think G's energy and effort have been terrific. I think G had 7 or 8 rebounds in the first half against Ball State, and even though he missed some shots, I think if you look back at that game where G, the struggle was that he had 7 turnovers, and that hurts you, and so, but I don't question his energy and his effort, and Eric and those two, and I think those two know that we need them to be as consistent as possible, and at times they have to take charge and take over. And they understand that. And there's a fine line between doing that and making sure that you're also getting your teammates involved and that we have everyone. Because at the end of the day, we're going to be a better team when we get more consistent scoring from a couple guys. That's gonna help us. We need a kid like Rod Mills to step up and be able to make some shots. He certainly helped us out early in the year, and he was our most consistent shooter, and in some ways was our most consistent scorer there at the beginning. And, for Rod, it's his sophomore year. In some ways, it's like a freshman year in that he didn't play very many minutes, but you've got to understand how to get through this. And one of the things I've encouraged him to do is you got to get to the free throw line. You got to see the ball go in the basket. You got to help yourself, get that lid off and do those things. And we need L.J. Livingston. We need him to come back and be more consistent, be the player he was before Christmas break and to have an impact on the game. And so we've got some kids that are capable of doing that. We need to get Harun off the snide and him to knock down some shots. So I think it's just a matter of guys, being comfortable, being confident, and you talk about confidence, and when you're in a losing streak and you haven't been able to find a way to get it done in conference play, does that probably create a little bit more? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're human, they're kids, but you also know you got to fight, and that's part of it. And so those are the things we have to continue to do.
Looking ahead, back home on Tuesday against Buffalo at 7 o'clock, then back on the road Saturday, 7 o'clock at Akron. Preview those games for us.
Well, you're looking at a Buffalo team that for the past 2 years have had Conference Player of the Year. So it's a little bit of an adjustment this year, but, I mean, they have a point guard's terrific. Monte Bearden is, when he is on, he's as good as it gets. He's got great size. He's 6'3". You almost look at him and you think he's thin, but I think he's more slithery than thin. He plays with a toughness about him, and in many ways, so as he goes, they go. But one of the things that they're able to do, they're terrific in transition and getting to the rim and finishing. It's one of the things as I sit and watch them, they are really, really good in that area. And then, of course, they have the ability to put the ball on the deck and drive you and get downhill, and yet and still can knock down some shots. But, when they're driving the ball and they're attacking, they're being aggressive, they're hard to deal with. Even watching them against Kent State and what they were able to go up and do at Kent, and just their aggressive nature and part of it, too, they play with a confidence, at least in that game particularly. On the road, I mean, on the road they're like most teams. They've been much better at home than they have been on the road. But that was a coming out game for them, I thought. So we've got our hands full. We've got to play really, really well. And they've added different guards, more pieces that can certainly score. Connor, those guys, they can do multiple things, and so we're going to have to be able to get them off the boards and hopefully keep them out of transition.
And then looking ahead at Akron, back out on the road on Saturday.
Right. Well, I mean, Keith's team's been one of the better playing teams thus far, I think, here in conference play and probably in preseason, early season play, I should say. I think the one thing about them is that he's able to put multiple lineups out there on you this year. He's got some versatility in that he can go big and they can still score. He can go smaller, and play with both of the point guards, both of the young freshmen from last year. and they can score. And then, of course, they have the ability to shoot the ball. And, you know, they're probably going to shoot anywhere from 25 to 35 threes per game. They're going to get them up, and they make them. And, of course, you know, Kretzer's knocking down shots. And, I mean, they've got multiple ways that they can beat you, and they're very good offensively, and they're going to rebound, and they're going to use their size. And so, you know, one, you've got to try to contest their threes. The other side of that is that stretches you, and now when the ball goes up on the rim, they've got the big boys inside who can go rebound it. So you got to figure out a way to get them off their board, get them off the boards. You know, it's a tall task. You know, last year we went there and just sort of hung in there and found a way, you know, at the end to eke it out. But, you know, like I said, that was last year. I think this team, at least as I've seen them, this team has a better sense of purpose. And not to say last year's team didn't, but this team really seems to be locked in as to, you know, what they're trying to accomplish. And also the guards, the young kids are a year older. And so I think that certainly helps them.
Thank you, and good luck this week.
Thanks. Appreciate it.